Welcome to Dirty AF, the podcast where we get down and dirty with dirt track racer Jason Brandes and his race crew. We'll go over highlights, lowlights, and everything in between. Sometimes you'll laugh, sometimes you'll cry, and there might even be times where you get downright angry with us. But in every episode, we hope that you are left with the desire to join us in getting dirty as... Welcome to the latest episode of Dirty AF. I'm your host, Nicole Wilson, and it is the evening of July 8th, 2022. I am sitting here tonight after the Friday night races at Gravity Park with Jason and Jolly. On the track tonight, Jason came in 7th in the heat race and 5th in the feature. So what happened tonight, guys?
Well, it sucks in the heat race when you have a really, really good car, but you can't go nowhere. Just saying. I mean, it was loose, but it was fast. I mean, it hurts a little bit when you got a fast car and you can't move forward because there's other people in the way. It happens.
It does happen a lot. Yeah, I mean, it was super slippery.
She was dust covered, and I mean, I don't think we could have changed anything different than what we had in the car. We had a dry slick setup in, but there was so much dust on top of that dry slick that made it awful slick.
And we're trying to play with a few things, trying to find a little bit more grip, trying to find a little more speed on this dry slick. I mean, the consensus lately at Gravity Park is we're going to race second from last or last, and
it's going to be drier than Toby's ass.
It's dry and it's dry, and we just haven't found the right setup for the car, or we find it, but we're still not fast enough to beat the rest of them, and I'm not sure why. Not that I'm saying everybody's got some illegal shit, but I'm just trying to figure out, is it there's something about it that we can't seem to find the right way to get the car to hook up, and I think
eventually we'll figure it out, but
I mean,
it might not be this year. But
dry's always been our Achilles heel. It was. That's kind of why we stopped racing at 141, because it always was drier, and we never really had the idea. And we've gotten better at dry, but we still haven't found the right combination between your technique as a driver and the car setup to make it all come together and actually be able to charge the front.
I would agree.
I mean, we hold our own, but we can never seem to, we can hold our own, but we can never seem to advance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people in front of us stay in front of us, not any further in front of us, but we can't never catch them either. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating because I really don't know. I mean, we did quite a few different changes tonight, and it's still
that I liked, by the way.
I mean, you said the car handled good, but to me, I'm like, well, it handled good, but it didn't correlate into a better finish. So to me, I feel like I didn't do it right. Like there's something different that needs to be done, because
I can tell you right now,
I don't understand how you tell me the car felt good and it felt great, but we finished 5th. Like,
well,
now, did we say everybody in front of us has got something illegal? I know, but at the same time, they weren't necessarily pulling away from you. It just, you couldn't close in on them either. So I guess I don't know the right answer or the wrong answer, but I don't know. I mean, I look at Parker, started outside of you, and he charged to the front. And I don't know what he's got going on. I mean, I realize Parker, you know, talking with them guys, he spent last year and this beginning of this year, a lot of test and tune nights. He put tons of laps on his car. Well, if you're going to do test and tune at Gravity Park, it's dry. It's drier than dry. So I think he's good at driving dry, but I never have the chance to take him on a wet track because I wonder what he would do on a wet track. But we never get that opportunity. Why? Because we're always second from last to last.
Well,
and part of my,
the advantage though, and I'm just going to chime in here for a second, but for the advantage for them guys to put on the amount of practice laps that they do is because they have E85 carburetors. It's a lot cheaper to go out there and burn E85 and turn 50, 60 fucking laps in a night.
Yep.
We didn't spend that kind of money on a carburetor to have that done.
Is E85 the ticket?
Maybe it is.
Does it
Maybe it is.
horsepower to E85?
Or
I always thought E85 ran hot.
well, that's what they tell you.
Maybe that's why.
Fucking burn it up. That's what I hear.
I mean, I always
I'll
was
get dump
told
some
ethanol-
pistons and shit. But
Ethanol runs hotter than freaking regular fuel, but I don't know. I guess I'm not a scientist.
but you know, we're not running a 2-speed power glide fucking direct drive either. I mean, take the guts out of this shit, fucking lighten everything up by another fucking 100 pounds, probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the stats on that shit, but all I know is with a direct drive, you hit the fucking throttle, the power's right fucking there. You don't have to wait for a torque converter or the clutch plates in the fucking transmission to spool up and fucking hit you your prime. You hit the fucking throttle, it's right there. That's why it's called a direct drive.
I don't know.
Beyond that point. Beyond that
like
point.
I said, I don't know what the answer is.
We
I just,
again tonight, besides you take away our 3 DNFs for the year. We again tonight, besides 2 cars getting DQ'd last week, we again tonight finishing top 5. We ran our race. We drove our car. And if we have to be happy with a 5th place car, that's what we got to be happy with.
I know
There's only one way to change that, and that's call the doctor.
There's a lot of consistency. I mean, it's not like we're falling way behind in the points race. It's not like any of that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's something I'm missing and I don't know what it is. And I don't know how.
Well, I'll tell you right now, tonight in the feature, you made a big step. We made a huge step in the feature because, yeah, you're right. They weren't pulling away from us. They weren't. Okay, they were a touch faster than we were, but we were a lot better tonight in the feature than we have been in probably the past 4 weeks. The car was a ton better tonight than in what it's been in the past 4 weeks.
See, but to me, that doesn't, in my mind, doesn't process. It may have been easier for you to drive, but doesn't necessarily.
But we're lacking the grip.
I just can't seem to find what it takes to get it to move forward.
Faster. Well, maybe, like I said, we just talked about this. Maybe we don't have the fucking giddy up and go like everybody else does. Maybe we don't have that certain style transmission to have the giddy up and go. Maybe we don't have. Maybe when we made the front spring change, maybe we went a little too far. We don't know that.
Correct.
But that's why we write everything down in a book.
Yeah.
It sucks when, like, for instance, in the heat race, the car was loose, but it was fast as shit.
But you still had no grip. That's why you couldn't keep it together.
But you couldn't get around nobody either.
Wow.
Because every time you tried to make a move on, by the time
the race was so bottled up, there was nowhere to go.
Right. By the time you tried to make a move on somebody, next thing you know, the car in front of you is, what are you going to do? T-bone them in the driver's door?
There was a lot of loose cars.
Right.
A lot of loose cars in that.
And we were loose too. So,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't ever bounce a car off the front wall.
I know.
I did it 3 times in the heat race.
You just about took the head off the fucking rub rail fucking bolt.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I did it. But
I didn't actually realize, I knew you were close. I didn't actually realize you hit it until you told me. And then when I looked and I saw the white, and I went, yeah, the head of that bolt's just about gone.
We had a loose car. Simple.
I know. I just, like I said,
I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
at a loss. Right now, I'm just at that point where I'm at a loss because
I ain't gonna lie to you.
How many weeks
Towards
in?
the end of the feature, tonight, the car did start getting loose.
yeah,
It did. It started to, but it was enough to. It was enough to keep us where we are and where we were. But I think if we could find a way to tighten the fucking bitch up with just it ain't gotta even be much. I mean, just that little bit more something somewhere.
yeah.
Maybe the bitch needs a plug job. I don't know.
Maybe we need to drop 7 of the fucking 8
Yeah.
piston rings in, and we can do better.
She was a lot faster when she was on fucking one compression rig
sometimes
instead
less
of all
power is
8.
better on the fucking dry swing.
Yeah, we know that. We've talked about that 100 times.
At the end of the day, I guess I keep searching. We made a lot of different things we did tonight, and the first change in the heat race obviously didn't. It made it loose as fuck. So that was a little too extreme, but we did some more changes in for the feature. We got to start playing because I'm done playing 3rd, 4th, 5th crap. I want to fucking feature win, and that's
you can want in one hand and shit in the other, and one's gonna fill up quicker than the other. I guarantee it.
I didn't even want that last year. We managed to find one, and I think to come out of this year. I want you to remember is going to be. I'm going to be disappointed.
I want you
at least be able to get one.
I want you to remember though that last year when we won that feature, we were up higher in New York. We had grip at a fucking racetrack.
True. That was back when we actually got to race in the top 3 classes and
actually
have some.
Right now we're racing at the bottom. So every time we fucking roll that car over on the track, even in the heat races nowadays, apparently,
it's dry.
It's dry. And you know what happens when it's dry, especially like during heat races, there's that dry dust that sits on top of that dry. Yeah. And that makes it worse.
I watched the A-mods before when you were in lineup, and I actually listened to the cars coming around the corner. And literally, I'm like between turn 4 and the flag man. And every car that came by me didn't even have his he wasn't even in the throttle. Full, these guys were coasting around the corner. That's how bad. And them guys got unlimited adjustments to handle all that. And they couldn't even tie into their cars. And it's like, okay, they're not even, I can't even imagine that was fun for them. Even the guys that try to ride, where they try to ride that buffer where that little bit of offset, the berm is when they come around. Even the guys up there couldn't hold it. And
I'm gonna say that it's never fun for any race car driver. And I know a couple guys actually that'll test that, but it's never fun racing on a 1-lane racetrack. We have seen for the past 6 weeks, I'm going to say, that a couple of them we didn't finish because of some other issues, but it is no fun whatsoever when you race on a 1-lane racetrack, because the better car can be stuck behind somebody that A, can't drive, or B, drives his car so hard he gets so fucking kittywampus that you either lay back or you take the rest of the fucking field out. One of the two. That's how a 1-lane racetrack works. I'm tired of a one. You see me tonight. I put the car to the high side a little bit.
The only person that I've seen really that worked on the high side
is Parker.
Parker, but both dirts. I mean, Eric likes to run the high side. Now in the heat race, he was looser. I wasn't so sure he wasn't coming screaming down to the infield a couple of times coming around that racetrack.
Sure.
But he seemed to, a couple of weeks ago, he seemed to do okay up there. And even tonight for a little while. But overall, maintain that high side is just not feasible when it's that dry. But you watch the AMOS.
I'm going to tell you right now.
These guys that run the high sides sometimes win, but you're right.
You know what? Maybe what we need to do, and maybe this is how we need to learn it, but maybe we need to take that car out in the middle of fucking winter, put it on some fucking glitter ice and just let her bark. Maybe that's how we figure out how to fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
I don't get it. We'll probably never get it. But
I mean, someday in my head, I wish I could get Parker to tell me how you can drive and dry like he does, because he won again tonight.
But he can't drive like shit and wet.
But every time we've ever driven in wet, that guy can't keep it on the track. So it goes, like I said, it's about car setup. It's like I said, it takes me out of the equation. And that's the problem I don't like is, do you get a true
when it takes our knowledge out of the equation?
Do you get a true points champion when the conditions never change?
I agree.
That's all I got to say tonight.
I say we could wrap it up on that.
I agree.
We don't again, we had a top 5 finish. And
I mean, the car came home in pretty good shape.
Yep, she's in one piece. And
we keep trying to figure it out.
Yep, we just keep dialing up. I mean,
make a little change here, make a little change there. We're trying to figure out what it takes to compete to get to that number 1 spot instead of the 3rd, 5th, 6th crap that we've been going on. I mean, I'm not.
And you know what? We worked hard enough.
I don't
we'll
want to
figure
say
it out.
I'm completely disappointed, but at the same time, I want to find the one. There's one.
There's one out there for us.
And I want.
There's
one
out there for us.
And that's what I'm never satisfied. You.
Well, that's why we do what we do.
You don't do what you do, and be settled for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Nope.
You do it for a win. I mean, if you're in a sport, no matter whether it's basketball, volleyball, or golf, you want to win.
Fuck golf.
Same with race.
Fuck golf.
I don't mind golfing.
I can't hit a golf ball straight for the life of me. Fuck golf.
I can 1 out of every 10 shots.
Yeah,
so I'm
good
good.
fucking
I'm
luck.
good 1 hole. I mean, last year at Golf League, I had an eagle and a birdie back to back, and then
in the same fucking night.
In the same night, and then I took a 10 on the next hole.
Oh, so Jesus Christ! I mean, that happens. That happens.
You're out here doing what we love, and that's what matters more than just trying to figure it out.
Right, I agree with you.
In
the beginning of the year, remember, in the beginning of the year when we had these conversations, our goal was to chase a points championship, right?
Yep.
Well, that fucking goal got to our fucking heads, and we started making big swings at shit, and we fucked that right up. Let's go back to us having fun. Let's go back to us doing what we do. And you know what? Just like last season, if it brings us a feature win, it brings us a feature win. But I've learned this through baseball, and I learned it through every other thing I've done in my lifetime. And that is you want to be on top, consistency is going to put you up top. You can have the biggest fucking motor in the world, the best fucking car in the world, a fucking sniper speed chassis built by God knows whoever that you spent 30 fucking grand on. Some little guy's going to beat you at some point.
Right.
Because they're going to figure it out.
But it's also the passion behind it too.
You goddamn right. It's the passion. It's the passion, and it's the nonstop trying.
Yep.
And we ain't quitting anytime soon.
Never give up.
Never give up.
All right. So we'll wrap that up with that note. Thank you guys both so much for sharing these conversations with us. And thank you everyone out there listening, showing us such great support. Be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening so you don't miss an episode. And a reminder that we want everyone here listening to come join us in person every Friday night at Gravity Park in Chilton, Wisconsin. The pit gates open at 3, spectator gates open at 5, and the races start at 7. We'll see you then. Thank you. You have been listening to Dirty AF, the podcast with the Brandis Racing crew. Join us again next week where we will once again be getting dirty as